Hi, this is Chris Kengat with the AFL-CIO Digital Strategies Department. Today we're going to do another training on articles in our new UnionHall website tool. We're going to create an article from scratch, add it to our site in our news section, and then I'm going to show you how to edit it and add it to the menu bar and delete it. So let's get started. First, remember that you must be logged into the tool, and you'll know you're logged in if you can see the Create option down here in the right hand corner, and also our admin bar up here in the left hand corner. To create an article, we simply come down here to the Create area, scroll over it, and at this point we can create just about anything in the tool. An article, a basic page, a biography. But right now we're going to create an article in news. We just simply click on that, and the article creation page opens up. Now, when I do my articles in my demo site, I always use the AFL-CIO's blog because it's a really easy place to grab content. The one thing I will tell you, though, is that whenever you're creating content, you're usually going to create it in a Word document or something like that, rather than actually typing it into the the WYSIWYG or the web editor in the tool. And the reason why you want to type it into a Word document or a Google Doc or something like that and save it is because you don't actually need the internet to save it. In this tool, if you were to type it in here and maybe you spent some time, an hour, typing up an article, and then when you went to publish it or save it, maybe if your internet was down or something like of that sort, you would actually lose your work and you have to start from scratch. So it's actually better to put it in a Word document, and then that way you won't lose it. So when I'm going over to the blog and copying it, it's just like as if you were putting it in your copying it from your Word document. Now, even though this article has columns in it, I can still copy it and then bring it over to my tool. And this is the web editor. It's also known as a WYSIWYG, which means what you see is what you get. I'm going to go ahead and paste it in. There's the article. Excuse me. Now, you can also, if you knew HTML, you could do this in HTML or even plain text, but we're using the WYSIWYG for this. So a WYSIWYG is really similar to the bar that you would have in a Word document. We have bold, italicize, you can do strike, and what strike means is, let's say there was some content that you wanted to change after you published it once, and then later you came back and you actually wanted to change the content to something else. Best practices right now with how we do things online would suggest that rather than deleting the old bad content and then replacing it, a lot of people prefer to use the strike, showing that they actually edited this language somehow, and that way it shows transparency and people can see kind of edits and changes that you're making. You don't have to use that. It's not that big of a deal if you don't, but if you want to kind of do best practices with online writing, you would use the strike. There's also obviously things like aligning left and right and centering. There's also this little icon for link, hyperlink. And what that means is if you were to take some of this content and scroll over it like this, and then click on the hyperlink, you could actually add a link to your article. And I like to bold my links so they pop out a little bit more. And that way what happens is if somebody's reading your article and they scroll over this, they can see that that's a live link that takes them to somewhere else. Just remember, live links usually take you to another site. You can add a live link to a page within your website, but usually it takes them somewhere else. So if you don't mind that they're leaving your article, then great, add links to it. Another thing you may want to be aware of, you can add images. You can also use the spell checker. But this last icon, if I click on it, it actually opens up several more options. I can erase things. I can change the format. So that's basically the size. And I can play around with the color and so forth. So you can play around with the WYSIWYG as much as you need to. So at this point, I can also change the article author. Right now it says my name, but let's say someone gave me some content and I didn't really want my name there because I wasn't the one who drafted the content. I could just simply put admin or something else. You have to put something here and then publish it, and then admin would show up. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and publish my article. Now here it is. And if I go home to my home page, I have to click the name of my organization up here to take me home. And then I scroll down to look for my article. Notice that it's not in this area, and I'm going to explain why in just a minute. I keep scrolling and I come down here. And you can see that it's in this lower news section right here is the article that I just created. And if I open it up, there's the full article. It has my live link. And at this point, somebody could share it on Twitter, on their Facebook page, or email it to a friend. And what that means, let's just click on this Facebook and I'll show you what happens. It opens up another browser, and it allows people to share my story from my website directly on their Facebook page, so that now their friends could see it and read it, come back to my site and read it, and they could also sometimes share it. So these are really great features that allow people to share your stories with others. And you can see that this is by admin. That's me, that I put the admin there, and then it shows the time. And if I wanted to continue to edit this story, I simply go back and click on the pencil. And I'm going to show you now how to move your article from this area, the news area, up to one of the top stories. So let's go back to the article. I have to be in the article in order to edit it. So now I'm in the article. And now I'm going to come over here to the edit pencil, and I'm going to click on the edit pencil. I'm back in the article. So there's a couple things I'm going to show you now. One is this featured image. This is how you pull the story up into the featured image area. You can add images using this icon here, and you can also add images to your story using this media icon down here. You can add multiple images if you want. But if you want to actually have it live up in the higher featured image area of your site, you either have to have an image or you have to have a video. So let's go ahead and click on this. It's really important that you remember to do this. When I was first playing around with this tool myself, I would kind of forget about this box up here. And so I get confused why my story wasn't showing up where I wanted. So just remember, you have to come up here to the featured image, because that actually is the featured image area of the site. So click on it. And so the first thing it wants me to do is upload a file, but I could also choose something else, and I'll come back to these options and explain them in just a minute. So let's go ahead and choose a file, and I've already saved the image, but I'll just show you real quick how to save an image. I'm going to go back to our blog. The way you do it is, if you're hovering over an image that you have the right to use, you can't just take it from a news site, but if you have the right to use the image, you can right click over the image and save the image, and I already have it saved here. So let's go back to my story. And I'll get out of this and do it one more time. So I want to make sure that my story is up in the featured image area, so I make sure I use this box to choose my image, and then I choose my file, and I have it saved here on my hard drive. So I'm going to go ahead and say open, and then next. And at this point, it wants me to crop the image. So I need to do that. So I'm just going to click on crop, and I could just save it right now and move on. I don't even have to do anything to it. But if I wanted to, I could kind of move it around. It just wants me to acknowledge that I'm okay with this cropping. So I'm going to go ahead and say save. I could also put alternate text in. And what alternate text in is if somebody is visually impaired, they might have a computer that actually reads to them. And when their mouse scrolls over an image, that image would tell them the alt text. So when they scroll over my image, it would say vote sign. But it also serves another purpose. It basically tells search engines like Google and Yahoo and Bing, it tells them what the sign is, what the image is. And so if someone's searching on a vote sign or voting, and they might put your state or something like that, your image and article are more likely to be found in the search engines. And so this really helps make sure that our content is bubbling up in search engines. So always try to use the alt text when you can. You don't have to put a title in here, but I'll go ahead and just put vote. And I'm going to save that. Great. And now that I'm done with that, I can go ahead and save my article. And I'm going to I have to click the name of my organization to go back home. And let's scroll down and see. So now here's my article. Let me just do something real quick here. I'm going to pin this to the top. I'll explain why in a second here. Notice that now my article is now second and this one's first. And the reason is I pinned this one to the top. And I did that because I wanted to show you what happens to an article if another one is pinned to the top. The reason why you would pin something to the top, you're just basically anchoring it, is the AFL-CIO and possibly state feds, and maybe if you're a local union, maybe your district or your national will syndicate content to you, to your site for you to use. And if you have something pinned to the top, it'll stay there. It won't get pushed over by content that's coming down and being syndicated. However, I've seen other people overuse the pinning option. They basically pin everything, and then they can't even get their own new articles on their site. We've had somebody follow up with us and say, why can't I get my articles to show up on my site? They're coming up lower down in this news area. And when we took a look, we realized it's because they were pinning everything. That's really not what the pin function's for. The pins function is really for that like one article that's like really important, or two articles that are really important. You really keep them up high for a period of time. Because one thing that's really important to know is that articles will sort of naturally, they never really get deleted. They just naturally kind of move through here, and they move their way out. And if we were to go to the news page right now and look at that, if we scroll down here, it would have page 1, page 2, and it would go on and on. And so you don't ever have to delete articles. They'll just sort of move their way out as new ones are added. And people can search on articles, past articles and things like that. There is a way to archive articles, and I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. So you just want to be careful with pinning, because there's a natural order for sort of moving articles through the system and kind of moving them into past pages. But if you do have an important article, feel free to pin it. And I'll just show you what I did. I'll click on that again and scroll down. So an article can already be published and everything, and all you do is pin it or unpin it to the top. It's that simple. And that's one way to do it. I'll show you another way in just a minute. So let's go back to our article. I'm going to click on it. There's a couple more things I can do. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the edit. So I showed you how to put an image here, but I'm going to remove that image. I'm going to show you now how to put a video there instead. I'm going to pull up our YouTube channel. I'm just going to grab a video. Grab Trumka here.
For the better part of a year,
all you have to do, and you may not be able to see me doing this because my mouse is a little bit above the video recording, but I'm just copying the URL. That's all I'm doing. I'm just copying the URL, and I'm going to bring it back. And now I'm going to browse for a feature image, and instead of uploading one using this option, I'm going to come over here and click on web. So when I click on web, now I can just paste that URL that I copied and click next and save. And then I'm going to go back to my home page and scroll down, and now you can see instead of that vote image, I now have the video of Trumka, and I can play it.
For the better part of a year.
And if I go into the story, it's here as well. There are ways to make videos a little bit bigger in the space, but that's for another training. This is really just how to add them to an article. So I'm going to go back into my article again. I'm going to show you a couple more things. I'm going to edit it. So I'm going to go back into, I'm going to delete the video, and I'm going to go back in and show you a couple more things. In addition to uploading an image and adding a web link, I can also go to an image library. And I don't have any right now, but because I'm in a different tool than what I'm in the demo tool, and you're in the live tool. And so it's slightly different. But if you're in your live tool and you go to the library and scroll down to asset library and click on it, there's a chance that AFL-CIO has populated that section with some additional images that you can use. We know, and we're going to continue to add images to that section, so that's called the asset library. Now, the reason we're adding images to it is because you have to have an image in the featured image area or a video, and we know sometimes it can be hard to get images that are good and good quality. You certainly can take your smartphone around and collect images when you're out and about talking to union members or at events, or you could have, you know, other local union members take photos for you and send them to you so you can use them. One thing I would recommend is just, you know, I would definitely ask permission if you're going to take a picture of someone and use it on your website, that they're okay with you doing that. But anyway, so that's the asset library. You just simply click on it and then apply, and then the images would show up. But I don't have any images right now in my asset library, but I just wanted to let you know that it was there. Next, what I can do is go over to My Files, and My Files is really helpful. These are all the files that I personally have uploaded. And so for you, when you log in, you'll have a section called My Files, and over time, as you've uploaded images, you'd be able to go back and find those different images that you personally uploaded. So here's the vote sign. I'll just grab that now that I'm back in here. And so I'm going to go ahead and save that. But before I do that, I want to show you another thing. Right here, this is called the menu option. Sometimes the WYSIWYG, I'm not really sure why it does this, but it sometimes it turns to the text version. So there we go. We're back to the regular. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you want to make sure you're in the WYSIWYG and not the text the HTML version. So the menu option. So if I click on the menu option link, and then I save it, it's actually going to put my article up in the menu bar. And you can do that on anything that you create. This happens to be an article, but you can do that on an event, on a promo, on an action. Let's go back in and edit that again. I could also remove it from the menu link when I don't want it up there anymore. Or I could decide, instead of putting it directly on the menu link, I might want to put it in the take action section. I'll go ahead and save that and show you what that looks like. So now if I scroll over the menu bar and I get to take action, there's my link. And now I might think, well, okay, I like it under the take action section, but it's a little bit long. I think the name is too long. So I'm going to go back in and again, in order to edit my article, I have to be in my article, which I am. So I'm going to go ahead and edit my article. So it's too long. So what if I just say, know your rights. Or I'm going to say, know your voting rights. Okay, so if I save that, now it's here, and unfortunately it's still showing the old link. So let's go back in and edit that one more time. And let's say I really wanted the longer link on my story. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that and bring it back. Maybe my story I want to keep the longer link, but it's really the URL here that I want to make shorter. So then in that case, I can come down here. Where is it? And I can actually change it here and make it a little bit smaller. I'm going to save it. And so now you can see that I was able to keep my title as long as I wanted it, but in the menu itself, just to shorten it up, I was able to just edit that part of it. So it's kind of a nice feature that you can play around and make the menu link much smaller and then keep the title that you really want. And the way I'll just go back and show you what I did again. I kept my title here, the really long one, and the shorter version I put right here under title link title. Or I can even make it smaller than that if I wanted to. If I still felt like it was too long, I could play around with it until I got it right, and then save it again. And so now voting rights under take action. Now if let's say I really wanted to archive this story, I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Now I'm in the story itself. Again, anytime I want to edit this or change it, I have to be in the story. I can't do it from the home page. Now I'm going to scroll over and I could just archive this story. So I'm going to go ahead and click archive when I'm done with it. you don't ever have to really archive anything unless you really want to get rid of it, because again, it'll live on your site and it'll be searchable for, you know, all time. But if you wanted to clean it up, you could archive stories. Or let's say there was something about the story that was outdated and you just want to get rid of it, you could definitely just archive it. Now, if you archive it, it's not going to be searchable. Now it's archived. It would have been on the news site in addition to the home page. Let's go back to the home page. All the news stories are here, but they also live on the news section. So if I click news, they're all here as well. This looks a lot like the home page because all the news stories end up here. Another important thing to know about articles is, let's say I created an article right now. I'm just going to call this test. And I'm going to, instead of publishing it, I'm going to save it. So the problem now is, and this is a frequently asked question, which is one of the reasons why I want to make sure you know about it. The problem now is that how do I find the article? Where is it? This is the create section. All I can do is create here. It's not here. It's not on the news page because it's not live. So I want to make sure that you know this. I mentioned earlier that these little arrows, if you click on them, it opens up another admin bar. And this is a very important admin bar. Some important features live in this section. And I found that some people using the tool weren't even aware of this. So I keep pointing it out in all my trainings to make sure that you know that if you click on that, it's going to quickly open up this menu bar. So if I scroll over, and this little wheel right here has a lot of important features, but one of them, and what I think is one of the absolute most important features in the entire tool, is the content section. It holds all your content that you created, whether it's live or not live, even if it's archived. So let's go ahead and click on content. And now if I scroll down, here is that article. It says publish. No, it's not published, but now I can go in and edit it if I want to. I just simply click edit and it'll take me inside, and at this point I can publish it. Let's say I update the article to say exactly what I want it to, and now it's published. If we came down here, you could see published, yes. I could archive this if I wanted to. Let's go ahead and let's see, I'm going to show you one more thing. I'm going to go ahead and archive it. And it asks me again to make sure I want to archive it, and I do. But let's say I want to unarchive it. Let me just tell you, first of all, it's really, it's better to be back in the home page for a lot of the things that we do, because sometimes not all the admin options are on, I see them show up on other pages. But anyway, I'm on the home page. I scroll over, again, this little wheel, and I come down here to show archive. Now if I click on show archive, it's going to open up all the things that I've archived, and you can see I've archived a lot of pages because I do a lot of testing, and so I archive a lot of test stories. And so now I can remove this from the archive. So now I'm going to remove it. Are you sure you want to remove it? Yes, I am. And now if I come back over here and I go to content, that test will be back again. So it's really easy to unarchive a story once you've archived it. So you don't have to worry about if you archive it that you're going to lose it somehow. It'll still be there for you. You can still edit it. You can republish it if you want to. Another thing in this content section while we're here, it's really important to know that all your content is going to be here. And so what you can do is search on things by title. I find that searching on things by section is really helpful. I use that a lot. But just make sure that when you do choose something, that you click apply. It won't show up until you apply. And then when you've applied it, you have to reset it to get rid of it. So here's the reset button. So the apply button and the reset button, you both need to use those. And that is how you manage your articles. And lastly, just because it's related to articles, so I showed you archived articles. There's also syndication articles. I'm going to click on that just to show you. These are articles that have either been syndicated down to me, or maybe they're articles that I've syndicated to local organizations. And you can go in and edit those if you want to. You can't really archive them because they actually belong to another chapter, but you do have access to them. So that wraps up our training on articles. I showed you how to create one by simply coming down to the create option and choosing create article, how to edit an article, how to archive it. I'm not actually on the page of the article, so I can't archive it. I'll just click on one of these real quick. I showed you how to create, how to edit, and how to archive the article. And I showed you how to find content, other articles and content, how to find your syndicated articles, and also how to, as I mentioned, you have to be on the home page to see all your options, how to show archive for articles. So that concludes our training for today, and I hope that you continue to take the UnionHall trainings until you've learned all about the tool. Thanks again for joining us. Take care.